Thank you all so much. And we will give you all a moment to get settled, and then we'll go ahead and get started. All right, colleagues, we're going to go ahead and get started. You can find the library information starting on page 427 of your budget book. And with that, Director, you are recognized.
There we go. Good afternoon. I'm happy to be here today, and I'd like to thank Councilmember Porterfield and the Council Budget Committee for having me. It's always a pleasure to return to the courthouse to see Council again. We're so fortunate to have the support from you, Councilmember Porterfield, and from Vice Mayor Henderson, Councilmember Gadd, who is the chair of the Council's Arts, Parks, Libraries, and Entertainment Committee. Councilmember Vo, who's the vice chair, and from every member who holds a seat in this chamber. Whether our council members are coming to an unveiling of the children's mural at the Madison branch, presenting a proclamation for the 10th anniversary of the Bellevue branch building, or being a judge at our annual Lego contest, it is so clear that Metro Council cares about Nashville Public Library. You are there for our big celebrations and milestones, but you also make the library a part of your everyday lives, just like the neighbors and the families that you serve. You believe in NPL's mission, and you trust us to serve your constituents with excellence. And that's what I'm here to talk about today. I'm honored to be here for a third year in a row to present NPL's vision for serving everyone in our community every day with excellence in FY26. Before I begin, I would like to acknowledge several groups who have come with me today in support of this vision. I know you'll recognize many of their faces. They are the Library Board of Trustees, the Nashville Public Library Foundation, our library ambassadors, and NBL staff, including my colleagues on the leadership team. These partners are here this afternoon because, like you, and like the Nashvillians you represent, they love the library. They believe that a city with a great library is a great city. So I want to thank all of you who have come with me today for being such a special part of NPL. To talk about Nashville Public Library's vision for next fiscal year, I'll start with a quick review of how the library is performing this fiscal year as compared to fiscal year 24. NPL is committed to the standard Metro has set for providing transparency about the data-driven ways that we measure success. Sorry. Like most libraries in the United States, we measure ourselves on 5 key metrics. Circulation, which is the borrowing of library books and materials, the number of free programs, classes, and events we host, as well as the number of people who participate in these programs, the number of visits to the library, use of NPL's free public computers and Wi-Fi, and free library card registration. So let's begin with library borrowing. NPL is set to reach a record 7 million checkouts by the end of FY25. That will represent a 6% increase over FY24, which translates to just more than 400,000 additional checkouts. This is really impressive considering we were only able to spend $2 million on library materials last year. Additionally, e-borrowing stands out in particular. As I talked about last year, circulation of our e-books, e-audiobooks, and other digital materials is projected to increase 14% this fiscal year. That's more than 3.7 million digital checkouts. But that also has a real impact on our funding because digital materials are a lot more expensive than the printed book. And Councilmember Benedict promised me she'd turn hers in early last year. There you go. So next we'll look at NPL's free programs for all ages. Let's start with the programs we host within library halls and walls at our 21 locations. The number of these programs is projected to decline by 5.5%. That translates to just more than 14,000 programs. However, the number of customers who participated in these programs is projected to hold steady. So that equals more than 287,000 people, which means we are attracting more people at programs on average. Next, for the programs that we take out into the community across Davidson County, that number is set to increase by 17.8% for just more than 3,400 programs. And the number of participants is also set to increase by 11%, which equals nearly 129,000 people. For our third metric, which is visits to NPL's 21 locations, this number will increase by 6.3% or 2.93 million visits. Turning now to the use of NPL's free public computers and Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi use is projected to decline by 3.7%, which translates to just more than 679,000 user sessions. But public computer use is projected to increase by 2.3%, or just more than 265,000 user sessions. So I'd like to take just one moment to talk about the free Wi-Fi and the public computers and why they are so important, both at NPL and in Davidson County. In a city like ours, it might be easy to assume that everyone has equitable and reliable access to both Wi-Fi and a computer. Unfortunately, this is not true. An estimated 450,000 people still struggle in Tennessee's digital divide, including right here in Nashville. NPL is the one organization in Davidson County that offers free Wi-Fi and public computers to everyone. We are also proud of our digital inclusion initiative to help people access the internet and learn how to navigate in today's digital society. And finally, our fifth metric, library card registrations. This number is projected to decrease by 2.7% for a total of slightly more than 48,000 new library card registrations. But while we're talking about this, I really want to note that our main library was closed this fiscal year for preventative maintenance to our HVAC system, which really had an impact on our numbers. To put this in a one-time variable in context, the main library was closed from August the 20th through October the 25th. In the same time period during fiscal year 24, the main library was home to nearly 1,400 programs for nearly 17,000 people, nearly 145,000 visits, and just more than 37,000 Wi-Fi user sessions. Just more than 14,800 public computer user sessions, which represented a total of 14,000 hours of use. And finally, 2,242 library card signups. And during this closure, we did take programs into the community for a total of 394 programs, serving just more than 10,000 people. That said, it makes sense that those numbers would be lower than what we can offer when our main library is open. So those are our metrics, and now I'd like to discuss our strategy for FY26, which will benefit the people we serve, particularly Davidson County residents in the neighborhoods surrounding branch locations that still need adequate staffing. Customers and staff at all NPL locations where we have an opportunity to strengthen security and safety. Middle school students who have equitable access to quality out-of-school programs. Local artists of all types who want to meaningfully participate in Nashville's creative economy. And preschool students across Davidson County, as well as their teachers and their families. So I'll start with our request for staffing at our branches. This is key to being able to better serve library customers. NPL is requesting 12 new staff positions across the next 3 fiscal years, beginning with 7 much-needed positions in FY26 at our smallest neighborhood locations: Edge Hill, Hadley Park, Luby, North, Old Hickory, Pruitt, and Watkins Park. These investments will bring staffing levels in line with those recommended by the Tennessee Standards for Public Libraries, because right now we do not meet those standards. Even more importantly, NPL will be able to take more free resources and programs into the community. The case for these funds is even more compelling when you consider that in 2022, NPL was asked to identify a 2% budget reduction. When asked to reduce our budget by $500,000, branch services lost 11 positions, but we still opened 8 branches for Friday hours. Despite the dedication of our NPL team, staff shortages have impacted daily operations more and more over the years. For example, if an employee is out sick, teams must urgently seek coverage just to be able to open, close, cover public service desks, and ensure safety. Being even one person short significantly affects operations at our neighborhood branches, which are among NPL's smallest locations. For this, we are requesting $592,900. Our next request is for safety and security at NPL. Over the years, NPL has added contracted security guards at 10 branches. The library has not requested funding to cover branch security, and instead we have used departmental funding for temporary staffing to cover these expenses. In FY24, expenses totaled $446,000, and the number of security incidents, as well as the severity of the incidents, continue to increase across the system. The cost of these services has increased each year, with a significant cost increase expected in FY26 due to contract negotiations. Therefore, for FY26, we are requesting $626,000. Next, I'd like to discuss our investment request for Nashville After Zone Alliance, which is also housed at NPL. NAZA is a transformational program for students in Davidson County. The NAZA network is a partnership with NPL, Metro Schools, the Mayor's Office, and more than 30 organizations across Metro. They are all working together to provide equitable access to free out-of-school opportunities for young people. An FY26 investment in NAZA would make 3 strategies possible. NAZA will fund a part-time position to coordinate youth leadership activities, including NAZA's Youth in Action program. This work has been grant funded for 5 years. Hundreds of middle and high school students have learned project management, budgeting, community service skills through this program, which is totally youth-led. Second, NAZA would also fund a pilot program called Developing Community Leaders. The vision of this program is to provide students in grades 9 through 12 who attend non-traditional schools, for example, alternative learning centers, with a year-long leadership development course. And third, NAZA will fund an additional 100 program slots to set up summer camps in Nashville's public housing community. We have already seen the difference it makes to locate summer programs as close to home as possible so we can reduce the transportation barriers for students that we serve. For FY26, we're requesting $200,000. The next request is for the Nashville Education, Community, and Arts TV Network, or NECAT, which is also part of NPL. NECAT is important to a creative city like Nashville. It is an accessible, equitable platform for local musicians and artists of all types who want to help shape our creative economy. NECAT staff help artists produce and engineer their own shows, all in-house at the NECAT studio. NPL requests funds for the lease of NECAT studio space on the Nashville State Community Campus. Previously, we paid $1 to lease the studio and the office space at Nashville State. The lease expired, and we now need to pay $95,000 per year. The library is renovating the old Donaldson branch as a future permanent home for NECAT, but this will take at least 18 months. Therefore, for FY26, we are requesting $95,000. We're also requesting $631,400, which would be the return of funds that the library was asked to reduce in its FY25 budget. And finally, I'm so excited to discuss our final request, which is Begin Bright. This early literacy initiative is funded through the Nashville Public Library Foundation, but the program is created and conducted by Nashville's Public Library's award-winning team of early education experts, the Bringing Books to Life staff. The goal of Begin Bright is to have every child ready to read as they enter kindergarten. There are 3 parts to this initiative. First, a little library and 400 preschools and daycares in Davidson County. Second, a free on-demand instruction for parents and preschool teachers, either in person, online, or on the Begin Bright app. Third, long-term research to evaluate and measure the success of the program. In his State of Metro address, Mayor O'Connell called for a $1 million investment in Begin Bright. This support provided by Mayor O'Connell and Metro Council will help ensure the success of this groundbreaking initiative. And I want to call out the foundation has also done an incredible job already raising $20 million for this initiative. So I appreciate the time that you've given me to discuss these budget strategies. And I also want to thank you for the recent funding that Mayor O'Connell and Metro Council have allotted from Metro's 4% dollars for the library collection. Anyone who's ever met me, spoken to me, has probably heard me talk about funding for NPL collections of more than, we have 2 million books and materials. Actually, they probably heard me talk about this 5 or 6 times. I talk about this so much because it is so important to offer Davidson County a modern, robust, and inclusive collection, a collection that residents want and deserve. If you think about it, everyone in our city intersects at the NPL collection. There is something for everyone, from early literacy and young readers, but also for adults who are learning to read for the first time, local book clubs, blind and visually impaired readers, diehard digital readers, and people like me who still love to turn the page of a printed book. So no matter who you are or what you're looking for or where you come from, the NPL collection is there for you. It's there for all of us. That's important in a city like Nashville, which is home to so many people, and where we look to celebrate all things that unite us. This fiscal year, we are so grateful that Metro invested a total of $4.5 million in the library collection. That said, it takes $4 million a year, not to grow, but to just maintain that collection. So I'll take a final moment to re-emphasize what everyone in this room has already heard me say so often, and that is how much we need full funding for the NPL collection every fiscal year. Councilmember Porterfield, thank you to you and to this committee for your time. The opportunity to serve as NPL's director is an honor of a lifetime. At every phase of my 50-year career in libraries, my passion is and has been about the difference that libraries make in the communities that they serve. It is why I come to work every day. It's why the entire NPL team does what they do. I believe in Nashville Public Library, and I know the people who have come with me this afternoon feel the very same way. I want to thank Council for all the friendship and support you've shown us. Making Nashville a great city takes all of us. Tackling the community needs and achieving the community's aspirations that Council is so passionate about means we are all in this together. Because of your support, NPL can play a role in that mission in ways that no other organization can. We are a civic living room where everyone is welcome. a palace of stories where books and readings and our own imagination take us anywhere we want to go, a steadfast community space for creating joy and coming together, somewhere you can just be yourself, and a place that people come back to time and time again. It is a privilege to serve Nashville at the library. We are grateful for your leadership, and I look forward to another year of collaboration with you. Thank you, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have for me.
Thank you so very much, Director, and thank you for your commitment to Nashville and just all the things that you all do to take care of people. And the library is truly a place where people can fit in and belong. I've seen that being at the downtown branch. I've seen where we have been just inclusive of everyone, regardless of their socioeconomic status, their background. So thank you for providing that safe space. We will start with Chair Gadd, and then we'll go to Councilmember Toombs. And colleagues, if you could just raise your hand, I will work my way around the room. Councilmember Gadd, you're recognized.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair, and welcome to the staff, and thank you for the incredible presentation, as well as everyone who has joined you. I will go and defer to the other Budget Committee members and then circle back at the end. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much. Vice Chair Toombs, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Director Luke and your staff for coming and sharing with us today. A couple of questions, clarifying questions. Looking at the budget at a glance, the 3.4 million, I know those are grant funds that weren't in place at the time of submission. Are you anticipating receiving those grant funds?
Susan Dry, I forgot to introduce her at the beginning of this. She is our Assistant Director for Administrative Services, and she will answer that question.
Well, I can if I can get the microphone on. Is it online? Okay. Yes, we're anticipating most of those funds coming back.
And for the Begin Bright, I know you submitted a $1 million request to the mayor's office, and you mentioned a $1 million commitment, but I don't see that on the budget at a glance.
So our understanding is that money is going, I apologize, my chair keeps going down as I've been sitting here. I can't see you. It's my understanding it's going to be in a finance administrative business unit, so it won't be in our budget directly.
I see heads nodding at the administrative table. Okay, thank you. That's all, Chair.
Thank you so very much. The next person I saw was Councilmember Sorora, but since she's giving me a hard time, I'm going to skip her and go to Councilmember Cortez. And then I'll come back to Councilmember Swerve if she's on her better behavior. Councilmember Cortez, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In regard to the Begin Bright program, it does say a one-time funding request of $1 million. Would we be able to get the program started if we broke that over the following years, like $250 per year? Is that possible?
We actually could, because we have the 20 million that the foundation has already raised as well, but you want to say anything about that?
That money is supposed to be over a 3-year period.
Okay, so it wouldn't have to come all from this budget period.
Exactly.
Correct.
Okay. And do you know, very quickly, how many children the Limitless Libraries Bookmobile, NASA, and CAT and Begin Bright touch? Do we know the numbers on that?
So the Bookmobile just kicked off in March of this year, and so I don't have those numbers with me today. NASA is here. Did you ask me about NASA?
Yeah, just all the programs that are touching the youth. So the Limitless Libraries Bookmobile, NASA, NACAT, and Begin Bright.
Sure. So with NECAT, the unfortunate thing is because of the way that the cable works, we can't capture how many viewers. We can tell you how many people come and take classes or produce NECAT manager is here with me today and could answer that question. Limitless Libraries, we have the potential to touch every single student in MNPS because every single student has a library card as a part of Limitless Libraries. It is we are the only ones in the country that do this, and it was, people want to emulate it, but they just aren't able to. So, with that card, parents and their siblings can also check out. I can get that number for you. I don't have it right now.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
You. You're welcome.
Thank you, Councilmember Cortez. We're going to try Council Lady Soror. You're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Director, and congratulations on your confirmation. I
Thank
believe
you.
that is a testament to all the things you did as an interim, and so thanks for the continued work. I'm going to start my questioning actually with revenue as well, because this one is not a grant revenue. This is under your other program revenue. And I see that it went from 630,000 to 1.2 million in 2025, but then it is zero in 2026.
Are we talking about special revenues?
It's not under special revenue.
What page is that on?
I just missed, sorry. It would be in the summary. Is that special revenue? I did not see it on the special, it just says your program revenue. It's on our page will be 427.
That is in the special revenue fund, so.
That is your special revenue.
Again, that's a timing difference because of when we have to present numbers. We don't know what those numbers are going to be, so we have to put it at zero.
Okay, all right, thank you. My next question, in looking at your details, I see that almost everything, and thanks for what I love about your presentation is you always talk about the money that we gave you, what you did with it, and all of that. It's very detailed. And most of what you presented actually was funded by the mayor. So it's only a couple of things that were not funded. Of the amount that was not funded is the NASA one. You got the position funded, the youth coordinator funded. Talk to me about that 505,000 that was not funded. And
Sure.
what that is.
So I actually made sure that Anna told me all of this before I came up here. So the other 512,000 would be for the 400 slots of it's a 4-week program, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, and it costs $1,280 per slot. And so she will be able to cover 100 slots plus the position, but not the other 400 slots.
I see. And so this is is it an expansion of the current NASA, or is it new programs, or?
Yes, so she did, and Anna, correct me if I'm wrong, she did some pilots with the juvenile justice system, with youth at risk in the MDHA facilities. And so is there any other one I'm missing?
If you could introduce yourself, you are recognized.
Thank you. Anna Harachinian. I oversee NASA, and the additional slots were to extend summer programming with a particular focus on MDHA communities. So we're piloting this June 3 communities, trying to bring programs inside the communities with MDHA resident services. So there are many more, communities. So we were trying to expand to those. So those 400 slots are particularly focused on summer programming for those kids. And then for justice programs, so we were able to accommodate 2 programs in alternative learning centers as part of our current budget. So we will keep them going. But we had a grant-funded program at Juvenile Detention Center that we will unfortunately not be able to continue, because that group was not it's not middle school group. We were just piloting it. It went really well. So if there was an opportunity to continue, I'm sure everybody would be happy. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that's a good program, and I think that the population that it serves is very critical. And I think it's something that should be funded, especially with the focus that it has. My next question for you is on the limitless libraries, which also was now funded at 190. But I see in your data that you said that this is for charter schools. So my question is, since this is charter schools, and as we always talk about charter schools and the money from charter schools, from public school going to charter schools, why did we try to approach this charter school system for funding this?
Okay, that's an excellent question. Sorry, go ahead. Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry about that. I just saw Councilmember Benedict's hand go up. That is a really good question. So that agreement with Dollar General to fund the charter schools, that was in place before I became interim director or director. So we promised Dollar General that we would use those funds to have a bookmobile to serve the MNPS charter schools. So we are really cognizant of that, and we are looking into, the bookmobile is currently going to other community events, and then we will evaluate the actual services and the number of participants, and we would look to hopefully maybe changing that and adding to going to preschools or senior centers. So I'm with you on this.
Okay. Yeah, I think every kid should have the opportunity to education, and it doesn't matter where you go to school, and so I'm not against the kids having access. But I think when it comes to funding, and we know over and over again what we're losing on our public school sides to charter school, I think something like this, for me, I would start with let the charter school find the money from what they have to fund this will be what I would say. So thank you. And then my last question on your request, the last thing that was not funded is the $30,000 for the staff parking. Can you talk to me about that as well?
Sure. So we were fortunate. We worked with Diana from NDOT, and we worked with Kristen Wilson in the mayor's office. So the shuttle service that our employees that could not afford to park in the parking deck is no longer, it stopped the end of October of 2024. So as part of that, we were able to receive $110,000 from that shuttle service. And we also had $50,000 that we were using for weekend parking. And that, we were thinking we were going to get $140,000, not the 110. So we had asked for that just as, trying to get the entire amount. But to be honest, we've worked as a leadership team, and we put together an incredible tiered system based on staff positions. So some staff, those parking spaces go for $190 a month. And so some staff that are part-time will pay $10. It goes to $25 to $35, all the way up to based on your salary and your position. So we feel like we did a really good job. Parking has been an issue for a really long time. So we're really proud of what we were able to put together.
I've always wondered, we have a parking garage that we lease out to a company, but then our staff are always looking for parking. I never could understand the genesis or the reason for that. But you have been able to walk out the 30,000, and you think you're fine?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, if we were going to get the 30,000, it would just mean that we would be able to have staff pay less. But we were thrilled even, just to be able to get the 110.
Okay. So I guess the NASA would be the only one that will be going to my wish list. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Councilmember Sora. Next, we have Councilmember Evans, Councilmember Ewing, followed by Councilmember Benedict. Councilmember Evans, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. I have a couple quick questions. So in 2023, I'd come to you and I'd asked for kind of statistics related to Wilson County and like how many users from Wilson County were coming and using the library, and you provided a number. And kind of thinking about your revenues and looking at the card fees are only assessed if you're in the service area outside of Davidson County, if you're getting digital materials. Have you all explored kind of looking at those fees for out-of-county residents? And the concern for me comes from, we have other counties who are not interested in doing anything about their property taxes and kind of investing in these services. And so we're basically subsidizing the surrounding communities. And there's an altruistic side, which I think is a wonderful thing. But at the same time, we also have to balance, can we afford to keep doing that based on volume of usage, and also the digital costs that you were referring to earlier, that they're more expensive. So I don't know if this is just perceived value from surrounding counties and they're not really taking advantage of the services, or if they're high volume users that are also getting like digital services that are more costly.
Sure, that's a great question. So we actually, in 2 weeks, I have a meeting with our shared system team for them to be able to share with me their recommendation for what should be our service area, what should be the amounts that we charge for the out-of-county, because we know that is a really good bargain. So we are going to look at that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for that. And then kind of piggybacking on Councilmember Dreffel's questions, I may be stealing this from him, kind of related to Parks about kind of collaboration with the McGavitt or academies, with you talking about NECAT moving to the Donaldson Library eventually, like the McGavitt has the Academy of Digital Design and Communication. And so is there potentially some alignment with students and their active learning about how to produce TV shows or, whatever with what NECAT's doing?
Sure. So I'm really excited. Since August of 2024, Larry Jarek has become the manager to oversee NECAT, and they have made tremendous it's really positive strides in terms of reaching out into the community, going to community events, but they've done, and Larry can correct me if I'm wrong, at least 2 with McGavitt, where they've spent an entire day with the students, but they'll continue to do more of those kind of things. And we're also making sure that we're going out to our library branches and being able to record and to put up on NECAT our library programs and events, because some of the programs on there were older.
Thank you. That's awesome. And my last question on kind of your buildings, and you talked about your closure of downtown for maintenance. Like, do you feel like with other buildings that you have that are older, like Old Hickory, Hermitage is getting older, even though it's in better condition, and some of the other surrounding buildings that are older in different parts of town, do you have the financial support to be able to maintain the buildings in a way that's going to make sure that employees are feeling healthy and all that stuff and not dealing with some of the issues that come from working in an older environment?
I'm going to let Susan answer that since she oversees facilities.
So we have a program in place. We're looking at all of our facilities. Obviously, some of those are in the master plan to be replaced eventually. But those that we have that we're having to maintain, we could always use more money. Any money that can come our way, we'll take it. But we are looking at those systems. For example, we got art money and we put in the bipolarization air for the air quality. So we're constantly looking at those older facilities because they have a lot of upkeep to them.
Yeah, and I guess to follow up with that, and then I'll conclude, are there particular, what's the connection, I guess, from an older building perspective and maybe employee concerns? Have you all made a connection? Like, I can think of my job. Mold is the number one thing people have a concern about with leaky areas. And have you all kind of dove into that?
Yes, there are some concerns with mold in older buildings, and we address those as they come up.
We have several buildings that are over 100, so those are our Carnegies. And then, like you said, Old Hickory is our next oldest. But Susan spent, and I don't want to say, is it 30 million? How many million that over the last 3 years in maintenance, we were really, we were really fortunate to receive the funds to do more maintenance on those facilities.
Thank you, Councilmember Evans. We're going to go to Councilmember Ewing, Councilmember Benedict, and then back to Councilmember Srour. And colleagues, it is currently 5:50, and we still have another department hearing. So we're about 1 hour behind schedule at this point. So I'm going to ask you all to please be concise. I promise it is just a coincidence that I happen to have made that last remark right before Councilmember Ewing spoke last time. It is just a coincidence. It just so happens that you were next in queue when it was time for me to make that announcement. I promise it was just a coincidence, Councilmember. You're recognized.
Right. Thank you, Chair Porterfield. I don't feel picked on at all. Okay, quickly. I wanted to follow up on NASA. Anna, hi. You had mentioned that there were 2 programs in collaboration with Justice that can no longer continue. Are those included in that 505,000 or beyond that?
So there are 2 programs currently in alternative learning centers, one in each. We were able to wrap that into our existing funding to make sure that they continue because they've been very successful. One program that we did not include in this ask, and the reason why we didn't, because the age group and some of the young people who are in detention center, they're not residents. They may not be residents of Davidson County.
Got it.
So we were not sure if that would be a great fit, but I just spelled it out as a need because the juvenile court was really excited about that partnership. We just had grant to fund it, which is over now.
Okay, understood. I just wanted to make sure that nothing is being left off the table for potential discussion. Because NASA is a really valuable program, and I want to see it funded to the full extent we can manage?
Thank you. If you all find a way to fund that program, that would be a priority because it was really important for those young people.
If you could give us an idea of how much the cost per capita is, if it's similar, that's fine, but if it's slightly different, it would be good to know that.
So we from the grants, we allocated 40,000 a year to serve about 40 youth, but they end up serving many more because it depends on the flow, like annual flow. Like last year, they had about 100. This year, they had about 150. So depending on how many come and go, they're not constantly there. So 40,000 was not enough. That program just made it work because they had other grants and other stuff.
Understood. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Councilmember Ewan. Councilmember Benedict, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. So 7 million scans, I know 6 million of them were in Inglewood. We have more activity per square foot and more scans per employee than any branch in the system, including Maine. Thank you for all you do for those folks. Board Chair Searcy just witnessed that I am 92% through an audiobook I checked out 3 days ago. So I definitely do return them early, and I'm not reading Thomas the Tank Engine. And then my question for you, actually, so from a serious side, and thank you, those services that I use, I know the public uses as well. So thank you for helping keep those going. My question is in regards to pay increases. So COLA, of course, as we know, and as you said in your questionnaire, is across the board. And then we have STEP for civil service, right? And then for open range merit, so as we look at employee pay, it's crucial for me that we are paying our employees well, as I know that's a value that you share. On open range merit increases, are those being applied across the board or are those based on individual employee performance?
Right. So because we have over 400 staff, we have been doing it across the board. That was in place when I got into the interim position. So we have talked at the leadership team about coming up with a fair and equitable system if we did it differently. But having done it in a previous system, it is really difficult with that many staff members to be able to try to come up with a fair and equitable and what they view as fair and equitable. Because, somebody's sitting next to the other person and they say, well, I got, 3% and that person gets 1%. And then, so it would be a tremendous task for us to take on, but we have started talking about it.
It's great that you started talking about it. That is a request I've received from one of the library staff about that. So that's where that question came from. It'd be great for you, I think, to connect with Director Hall in HR to talk about how that's managed with other departments of your size, because I think that there is an opportunity for us to potentially improve employee morale across Metro government when we approach it in an individualized performance-based way for those merit increases. So I'd appreciate it if you'd look at that.
Sure.
That'd be great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Councilmember Benedict. Councilmember Soroy, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. I'll make it very brief, and I'm going back to the bookmobile. I had a caucus with the Vice Mayor Ian, and I wanted to make sure that I'm not doing a disservice to a program that is very important. So if you will please, so what we were talking about is that the limitless library is different from the bookmobile.
Yes.
Specifically the bookmobile, which is what this 190 is about. Is it just the charter schools that it serves, or is that where it started? What is it meant for? What is it supposed to do? I wanted to make sure that if it's a program that needs funding, that we don't cut it short because of that. So if you can explain a little bit more on that, I will appreciate it.
Sure. So the bookmobile is under Limitless Libraries. That's maybe why the confusion. So that 190 is to fund the 2 staff who actually ride on the bookmobile to do checkout and programs with students. Again, we started with the MNPS charter schools, but we're going to look at that and evaluate. That $190,000 has been covered through the Dollar General funds that we have been receiving. And so we were just trying to get those positions moved over to Metro so that if Dollar General decides that they're not, they've given us $400,000 for Limitless Libraries, which covers more than the bookmobile, but that helps us to pay those staff. But so the other thing to know is that we're going to schools that are, and serving underserved populations. So those students, you don't want to penalize them because the charter school decided that they don't want to provide a library. And so we're hoping the day that we cut the ribbon, if you could see the joy in those students' faces that they were actually able to take home a book, it makes a difference.
Okay, so does it just serve the schools or does it serve the communities as well?
Well, it's going to community events as well, so. And in the summer, when the schools are out, they'll go and do, they can go to preschools, they can go to senior centers, and they can continue to go to special events.
And this is a community with English as a second language, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I just changed my mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Sora. And Director, thank you all for everything that you all do in your service to our community. And with that, we're going to wrap up. Oh, and shout out to all the people that you brought with you. So the Sheriff's Department brought a massive amount of people, but it looks like, not behind them. The last week we had the Sheriff's Department and they brought like an influx of people, and it looks like you all are a serious contender because you all also brought like a huge amount of people. So thank you for the whole entourage for showing up.
Thank you, Councilmember.
Thank you. And with that, we are ending this session, and now we are going to bring up MMPD. So if we can swiftly transition in, we appreciate it.